Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing this morning?
I'm really doing great. I'm now over a little bout of bronchitis and, starting to get my breath back and my voice back, and so I feel good. I'm in good shape. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. You're up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, or Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the way you say it up there.
No, they actually do say Lancaster. That is correct.
That's amazing because
it's a long story how a southern boy from the bayous of Louisiana ends up in southern Lancaster County, but that's where I now live. Yeah.
So you were born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right?
No, I was not. Actually, I grew up in Baton Rouge, but I was born, it's kind of strange, I was born in Golden Meadow, Louisiana, way down in the bayou country. But my mama, they don't say mother down there, my mama was a Creole Cajun woman from Cutoff, Louisiana, which was just down the road from Golden Meadow, but there was no hospital in Cutoff. So I was born in Golden Meadow. And then my dad was transferred to a pipeline company job, and I was raised in Baton Rouge, but I was born down there in Golden Meadow, from Cutoff, Louisiana, way down on the bayou.
Well, let's get the year of your birth straight, because I know there was some confusion about that at one time until you talked with Norman Knight.
The guy that's responsible for misinforming the public about my birthday was Norm Knight from I guess that's the satellite radio networks up there. Norm, in his first book, and because I've signed a lot of those books, said I was born in 1940, September 2nd. I was born September 2nd. But I was actually born in 1938. Now, many years ago, it upset me that people, because it made me look like I was so much younger. Now, umpteen years later, it would be great to say, yeah, I was born in 1940, but I was born in 1938. I'm 75 years old.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've seen your pictures, and you do not look 75 years old.
Well, thank you. The good Lord has been good to me, and I must admit, I have felt led for many years. I take care of myself physically, as far as what I eat and what I drink and what I don't drink. And I did smoke many years ago. I quit that, thank goodness. And so I've really I've taken care of myself, and God's been good to me. I have to admit that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I tell you what, this is a real privilege for me, because I grew up listening to your songs when I was listening to them on the Big Ape Radio in Jacksonville, Florida. Remember that station?
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, got many friends who worked over there at that station back in the day. But anyhow, your first really big hit was Just a Dream, was it not, in 58 with Ace Records?
That is correct. That is correct.
And it reached, number 4 on the chart? And sold
I don't know. I do know somebody told me of those things on the Billboard Top 100 that Just a Dream hit number 1 on the R&B charts.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, you had the nickname of the Swamp Pop R&B Teenager Idol one time back in the day. Oh.
Yeah, I grew up playing music all along that bayou Gulf Coast area down there, and I played a lot of clubs down in the swamps, down in the Louisiana area. I've got some stories about that, boy. And so that did have the nickname of Swamp Pop music, that's true. I don't know where the Teen Idol came from. That may have been Alan Freed in the early days when I was doing big shows. I don't know if it was Alan Freed, possibly Dick Clark, one or the other, but one of them stuck that title on me, and I've never gotten away from it, evidently.
Well, I've got to ask you a question now. This is something that I tried to do way back in the day, and that is to emulate that lock of hair that came down over your forehead.
Yeah. That's very strange, because when I was graduating from high school, and then going into, that was 17 and 18, in my senior year of high school, all of us guys just started doing that, and we were we trained our hair to do that. It was actually up at the very top, it was a crew cut, and then we let it grow long around the sides there, and then folded it over. And some people have called it a jelly roll, and some call it a waterfall. But we didn't have a name for it. And to be honest with you, because my hair just fell into place like that, when I started making public appearances and people started seeing my picture nationally, it was like they couldn't believe this hairdo of mine. And I never thought it being strange, because people have to remember, in 1958, when Just a Dream came out, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have TV, was not huge, you didn't have FM radio. And so the only thing that people got their music from was the AM radio, and from really just American Bandstand. And when they started seeing my picture and started seeing that hairdo, it seemed to be a shock to everybody. And then many of the guys started wanting to do it, and evidently I was one of the first, I guess. But I didn't realize it was so new until I started having my picture all over the world and doing shows all over the world.
Yeah, you were at Baton Rouge High School at that time, right?
I was in Baton Rouge High School. I graduated in '56 at age 17. And then at 18 in Louisiana, you could go into a bar. And so I started playing all the bars with the group that I was with, called the Rockets, and that was when I was 18 years of age. And it was in April of the following year when I actually recorded Just a Dream. That's a whole long story on how I ended up doing that. Wow. Yeah.
You mentioned the Rockets just now. That was your high school band, was it not? That was a band you formed way back?
No, it was not. There was a band called the Dixie Cats.
The Dixie Cats. Oh, wow.
And the Dixie Cats and I played when I was a sophomore in high school. And we would play a CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization. We'd play a CYO dance here and there. But a guy came to me in my late senior year, because I was really an extremely talented guitar player. That's what I really wanted to do. Singing was not on the agenda whatsoever. I know that sounds funny, but I never intended to be a singer. I wanted to be a guitar player. But what happened is that I saw that the guy who would sing in the band, along with playing his instrument, he got paid $5 a night more. So I went to the guy in charge of the band. I said, "Look, I've sung before, and I don't mind singing a few extra songs if you want to, give me an extra $5 a night." And so, lo and behold, that helped them out, because then they had more than one guy to sing. And so I started singing a few songs, and lo and behold, when I would come to the front mic and start singing, seemed like a lot of the girls would congregate up next to the bandstand. And so the next thing you know, that worked out great. The next thing you know, I got a raise. I was making $10 a night more, because I had a lot to do with ticket sales,
It must have been the hair, Jimmy.
I guess so. I guess, well, we won't go any further than that.
Oh, I know what you mean. There was a part, you were actually part or attached to a piece of rock and roll history called The Day the Music Died. The winter, what was it? The winter midwinter tour, or whatever it was that
the winter dance party.
Winter dance party, and you were not at the Surf Ballroom, but you picked up right after the accident, did you not?
Yes. What happened with that is that prior to that plane crash, I already knew and had done shows personally with the Big Bopper and Richie Valens and Buddy Holly. By that time, I had done shows with everybody. People don't realize this, but in 1957 through 1959, there were only maybe, and this sounds strange, but it's true, there was probably only maybe 30 to 40 major names that were recognized worldwide when he came to rock and roll.
Yes.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew everybody because I was one of those names. So in those days, between Dick Clark and a guy named Irving Feld and Alan Freed, they pretty much controlled the music industry, and so we did bus tours all over the nation, from all over Canada, and so anybody who was anybody did one of those shows eventually, and I was one of them. So I knew everybody.
Wow.
Everybody.
I'm telling you.
Back in 57 through 59. And so I was on a major tour, and there was a knock at my hotel door. I still had 2 weeks to go on this tour.
Mm-hmm.
And the road manager knocked on the door and looked at me very somberly and said, "I want to ask you a favor." He said, "There's been a terrible accident," and he began to tell me about what had happened with the plane crash with Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. And he said, "Jimmy," he said, the promoters insist the tour go on, and they're wanting us to fill that package with other artists that all the fans would know. So Dion and the Belmonts were still on that tour.
Yes.
And so they said, "Would you be willing," he said, "would you be willing to leave this tour and go up and fill in as one of the artists for that package?" And of course I said I would. So they flew me up, and I don't remember where I picked it up. I may have flown into Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm not really sure at this point. But yes, I did pick up that tour, but I do remember it was a solemn moment for me because I flew in, and I had my stuff, and I stepped up on that Greyhound bus, and I saw Dion and the Belmonts sitting over in the corner on the one side. They were very, very cordial to me, but very somber. And as I looked to the back of that bus, there was instruments still belonging to Richie and to Buddy Holly and their clothing. And I ended up playing on that show. I played Buddy's guitar and did some of his songs. It was very difficult to be happy-go-lucky on a show like that. And so I just got through it. But I think Frankie Avalon also flew up there and joined that tour. But yes, I was.
Jimmy, what were the crowds like in the audience for the rest of the tour?
They were extremely somber.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to come to the shows. All the kids still had tickets, and they didn't want to cancel their tickets, and they did all come. But it was there's no question about it. It was not happy-go-lucky and joyous, enjoying the music of the era. It was more being a part of history, is the only way to put it.
Yeah,
that's the only way I could describe it to you.
I have to ask you this, because I know being a musician and performing in front of a crowd is a very emotional thing. And I know that a lot of musicians get their energy for their songs and their performance from the crowd and kind of feed it back to them.
No question.
And so how about you? That must have been really tough for you as a performer, getting up there in front of a crowd who was being somber and not really responding.
Well, what I simply did was to recall the poignant moments of my career with these incredible artists,
mm-hmm.
and to point out how we all got along and how the other crowds throughout America so appreciated them. And then I would talk about how I would stand backstage myself before I was announced, and I would be able to hear Buddy Holly and hear Richie and to hear the Big Bopper, and then we would all hang out together, after the show and in between. So I would talk about that, and then of course I would insert, you can imagine at that time, really I had not recorded Venus and Blue Jeans,
mm-hmm.
so I could not do that, which became probably actually a bigger hit or as big a hit worldwide as Just a Dream. But I had not recorded Venus in Blue Jeans at the time.
But you did have...
So it was strictly Just a Dream and My Own True Love and Angel Face and Don't You Know, because I had done, I hadn't even done Go Johnny Go the movie at that time.
But
so
you
that
did,
was even later.
Yeah, but didn't you do this?
It was a strain.
Yeah, but
it was very strenuous.
You know, thinking of that, the anniversary that it's coming up on February 2nd and 3rd, the 55th anniversary, if I remember correctly. You're going to be up there at the Surf Ballroom, are you not, this year?
Yes, I got a call sometime back, and they asked me, if I could be a part of it. Can you hold on 1 second?
Sure. Everybody, we're talking with Jimmy Clanton, the legendary rock and roll singer from way back in the early day, and this is WUSC-FM in Columbia. Jimmy, so you're going to be up there for the anniversary show, which is actually going to occur a couple days before the actual anniversary, is it not?
That is correct. I had told him that I could not make it the night they asked because I had to be in Columbia, South Carolina for a show on the 1st. So, bless their hearts, they worked everything out and changed everything around to have me on a day prior so that I could be there, because they just worked it out for me in such a way, and they just pretty much insisted, and I don't want to use the word begged me, but they worked it out in such a way to where I agreed that I could come. But they had to do a lot of changing around, and they did, and it was satisfactory to me. So I will be there for that, yes.
Speaking of that show here, here in Columbia, South Carolina, you're going to be here on Saturday, February 1st of 2014 at the Township Auditorium here in Columbia, along with Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs, the Vogues featuring Bill Burkett, the Marcells, Barbara Harris, the original lead singer of the Toys, the Cookies, and Blue Suede Orchestra. Are you looking forward we're looking forward to having you here.
I'm looking very much forward to it, and of course, the cherry on the Sunday for me was that I was just there not long ago as a guest on that local PBS station in promoting rock and roll and the show and the station, and of course that was also to coordinate my appearance there for that show on Saturday the 1st. And I got word later that there was a tremendous reaction to it, and people were very, very accepting of the live show that we're going to have. And I understand that it's, as far as ticket sales go, that it's really a success already ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I'm going to be there myself. You can guarantee you that. And for the audience here in Columbia, if you're not aware of that, you can get tickets at the Township Auditorium website, and also I think from Ticketmaster, if I remember correctly.
I made a statement, and I had never said this before, but the station manager asked me to mention this when I did the personal appearance there. For the PBS station and for the Columbia show. I said, it occurs to me, I said, everybody needs to realize this. If they love this music, they're talking about artists as myself. We're talking about Just a Dream. We're talking about 55 years ago, folks. That's over a half century. And it's unbelievable to me, and Facebook has done so much. I now have fans on Facebook, literally from all over the world. I mean, literally. And the one thread that holds it all together, they've all said, "Oh my gosh, Jimmy, we loved your songs. We loved that era. And just to know you're still alive and we can be in touch with you." And so I said all that to say this, folks, I'm 75 years old. The reason I'm really riching up my appearances is because right now I'm in great health, thank God, and I must admit my voice is in great health. But you know, when you're as close to 80 as you all are to 70, it's very hard to say I sing as well now as I did back then. I can say that's the truth for Jimmy Clanton. So if you like Jimmy Clanton and you like these artists, I urge you, come see us now while we're still able to sing. Well,
that's right.
I mean, I know some artists, and I won't call them out. Bless their hearts. I don't know. Maybe they need the money, but they don't have the voice. They still go up on stage, and thank God for them. But they just don't have the voice they had 50 years ago. I know of one that's gone up, and he has to carry an oxygen tank to breathe, but they still love to be on stage. That's fine. But I know there's so many that I can name that have passed away that I've done shows with.
Oh, absolutely.
Just recently, Jay Traynor, Roy Orbison, I could go, Elvis. I knew all these people. I could go on and on and on about those that are not here anymore. I could go on and on and on about it. So come see us while we're still alive, folks.
And not only come see you, but you have just released a new CD.
Yes, I did. That's kind of a long story. I had not recorded in over 30-some-odd years, and through a string of events, mainly because of a song that I wrote called Lovin', L-O-V-I-N. I named it Lovin' Louisiana. And I came about writing that song. I was getting ready to do a one-man show at a big casino in New Orleans. And as I was sitting there, I thought, if I was doing my last show, where would I want it to be? And I wrote a brand new song called Lovin' Louisiana, and it's about my last show. And so I did it live at that show. The people went crazy, and the next thing you know, they're calling and asking, we want Jimmy's Louisiana song. How do we get a hold of it? So somebody in the band told me about this digital recording studio, Pershing Wells, he calls it, down there in Houma, Louisiana, Socolay Productions, and they kind of talked me into it, and I was so impressed with the results that over the next 2 years I wrote 9 brand new songs, never before recorded, and I went into his studio and I recorded those along with a brand new version of Just a Dream, which I was so happy with. That's another story. And so, yes, it's called Everybody Needs Love. By the way, it can be gotten on my website, jimmyclanton.com. And so I recorded that, and there's so much going on. I could talk all day, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize this, or maybe don't remember way back the movie you filmed with Alan Freed way back. What was the name of that movie? It was Go Johnny Go?
Back in 1959, I'd done a big show with Alan. I was in New York, and he walked over to me backstage, and he said, just right off the top, he said, I am getting ready to go to Hollywood. And he said, I'm putting together a new movie. And in fact, this is new for the fans that are listening. He said the name of the movie is Johnny Melody. And he said, I would like for you, Jimmy, to play the lead of Johnny Melody. Well, wow, by that time I was classified as a teen idol, and the girls were screaming, and I guess that's what the movie was about. And so it took me about 1 second to accept his offer.
Had to think that one over.
By the time we got out to Hollywood, he changed the name of the movie from Johnny Melody to Go Johnny Go, because Johnny Be Good became a huge hit for Chuck Berry. And as we call it in music, the hook of that song was Johnny Be Good. It was Go Johnny Go. Go Johnny Go. And so he changed the name of the movie to Go Johnny Go. However, my script said on the front of it, Johnny Melody. And that script is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way, in Cleveland, Ohio.
But that's not the only movie you were in. You were in another one called Teenage Millionaire.
No, because about a year after that, I was with my, at that time, girlfriend, and we were in a delicatessen right there on 50 on 7th Avenue. And there was a fellow named, I recognized his face. He was a boxer from New York, Rocky Graziano. And my girlfriend and he had recognized each other. They knew each other. They'd done something together, I guess, at her parents. And the next thing you know, she introduced me to him. And he looked at me and introduced me to this man he was sitting with. Well, come to find out, the man he was sitting with was named Howard Kreetzak, and they were talking about this movie that they were getting ready to put together called Teenage Millionaire, and it revolved around this young, good-looking kid who's a millionaire, and he wants to be in the music business. And so when they saw me, found out who I was, what I'd done, the next thing you know, I was out in Long Island at his mansion home, and signed me to that, and so I played the lead in that called Teenage Millionaire. Yeah,
and the music.
That's right.
The music for that movie was arranged and produced by Dr. John and Charlie Miller, the trumpeter, right?
Well, not really. Dr. John, his name is Mac Rebenak, was really in those days in New Orleans. He was a studio musician and a songwriter, and so he played on a lot of the songs that came out of that studio, and he played on most of my stuff, as well as everybody else that recorded in New Orleans. And so I took some of the songs from that studio catalog and put them in the movie myself.
Oh, okay, so that's where it came from. Well, you know, speaking of different things you've done, at one time in your life, in the early to mid-'70s, you were a disc jockey, were you not, at WHEX in Columbia, Pennsylvania?
Well, technically, yes, but not literally. It was a little studio in Columbia, PA. I had moved to, so I was living in Lancaster, PA, and Lancaster, PA turned out to be a great location because I did so many shows on the East Coast, and instead of having to fly everywhere, I could drive. And so I got a phone call from a guy that knew me. He said, Jimmy, he said, this little studio has been sold. This radio station, it was a farming station. It's been sold to a guy, and he wants to turn it into a 50s and 60s oldies but goodies music station. He said, would you consider, if we could work it out, that you would just do an hour or 2 hours in the morning, because you have so many stories and so forth and so on, and you could be, you could just have your way on the show, and then you could be out of there early enough to travel wherever you would need to be, and if you had to go somewhere else and take a day off with, you could be so flexible. And I thought, hey, that'd be kind of fun. So that's how that worked out. But instead of having to drive to Columbia, they had a little studio down on the lower level of a big shopping center here called Park City, and so there was a little booth right there, and so I did that for about a year, and it was fun. And of course, I knew everybody in the business, so I set up a couple of I pre-recorded and with some interviews with Brenda Lee and Frankie Avalon, people I knew. So that was fun. I did that for about a year. That's true.
Wow. What a life. I tell you, we are really looking forward to having you here in Columbia, of course, coming up on Saturday, the 1st, down at the Township Auditorium, along with all the other artists that are going to be part of the Ultimate Doo-Wop show that's going to be playing here. Jimmy, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning and talking with us here on WUSC-FM.
I would like to add just another little tidbit, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
I find it very, very important to let the fans know that in many, many ways, think about this. In many, many ways, a lot of the audience, there's no question, are people from my age bracket, from that era. And so for them, it's not easy necessarily to get to these shows and pay for them and so forth. So I always make it my business to come out after the show, if it can work out sometimes at intermission, and I take pictures with the fans, autographs with the fans, give them a hug, because they deserve that. And I'm in the twilight of my career. As I said earlier, all of us guys, we're in our 60s and our 70s, for heaven's sake. Let's get real about this. And so they may not ever see me again. I mean, let's just, this may be the only time anybody in Columbia gets to see me up close and personal. So I make the time that is possible to do that. And if there's anybody listening that has any friends or acquaintances down in the New Orleans area, May the 31st, I am doing a farewell show for the Gulf Coast. I'm 75 and a half years old. I am getting ready to do my last one-man show down there. And there's only about 40 tickets left.
Wow.
If you want to see Jimmy Clanton, look, folks, I'm just going to be upfront about it. With these big shows, at the most, they're going to hear 3-4 songs. They're going to hear Go Jimmy Go, Just a Dream, Venus and Blue Jeans. And most of the time, that's about it, because there's so many acts on the shows. Mm-hmm. But when Jimmy Clanton does his up-close and personal show, I have so many songs that I've recorded that the fans love on Facebook. And I will be able to do my one-man show. And I guarantee you one thing, if there's anybody down there in the New Orleans area, and you've ever liked Jimmy Clanton, this is your chance to see me up close and personal in a way that you would never, ever have a chance otherwise. And so that's May the 31st, because I may be down in that greater area on a big show, but then that's going to be 10 minutes on stage. Go Jimmy Go, Just a Dream, Venus and Blue Jeans, bam, bam, bam. I'm not going to be able to do any, real entertainment. That's just the way it is. But when I do my one-man show, oh my gosh, I guarantee you would love it if you love Jimmy Clanton. So if there's anybody down there, just call my office number for tickets, and they're very reasonably priced. I'm putting this show on myself, and I'm pricing the tickets at the least amount that I can afford to, and I guarantee you, we're talking about $35, folks, for a ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you can't, that's a bargain, I'm telling you. See, rock
I know
and roll
what these
legend.
bigger tickets cost, folks. And the reason it's even that much is because the venue only seats 250 people. I'm doing this up close and personal. Mm-hmm. There's only 250 seaters, but there's only about 40 tickets left. And the only place I have talked about this is on Facebook.
Yep.
So all those tickets have sold just for Facebook. So, Rick, you're the first one to hear it nationally.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to be in New Orleans.
New Orleans. By the way, I'm trying to stretch my memory here a little bit. Are your daughters performing with you in New Orleans?
My daughters are not performing with me because my daughters don't sing.
Oh,
The ones that are performing with me are the girls that sang with me on my CD.
Oh, okay. So
and especially one girl named Terry McPhail. Terry, I was so taken with her voice that I custom wrote a duet. And that came out so great with myself and her that I wrote a second duet on my Everybody Needs Love CD. So Terry is going to be featured. So is Lynn Cantrell. She sang background on Just a Dream. And Tammy Trant is part of Blue Eyed Soul that's backing me up. And Tammy and I do a duet together that people won't believe. But the favorite Everly Brothers song that, of course, I knew the Everlys, I knew Phil, I knew all these people.
Yeah, we all miss him.
Was Let It Be Me. And Tammy Trant and I do that together on stage down there in New Orleans. I'm telling you, if you ever love Jimmy Clanton, it's worth a plane ticket. I'm telling you, it's going to be my show of a lifetime down there in New Orleans.
You're pulling out all the stops.
It's a one-man show.
Yeah.
But all I can do is do my best in Columbia for the time that they allot me, which is usually, like I say, about 12 to 13 minutes. But at least I will get to see everybody one-on-one at the meet and greet and then afterwards, okay?
Thank you, Jimmy. And thank you for coming on this morning and talking about. We'll be looking forward to seeing you on the 1st down at the Township Auditorium here in Columbia, South Carolina. Jimmy Clanton.
Sure, and like I would also say, if, down the road, I'm open to do interviews down the road if you would like further down. I can't stress enough. I know that I'm in the twilight of my career.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be. I know I've got some bookings toward the end of 2014. But I know that in 2014, this coming summer, I don't take a lot of bookings. I'm going to be working on my book. I'm working, by the way, the New Orleans show that I'm doing down there, I have retained a first-class filming company. I'm talking about of the quality to go on PBS. I'm filming that whole one-man show down there.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm going to be editing that this summer. I'm going to be getting ready a book, and I'm going back into the studio for at least 2 to possibly 4 more songs. And so by the end of 2014, I may decide in 2015 to just do 1 or 2 shows, and after that retire. I'm serious.
Well, I'll tell you.
Come see me while you can, folks.
And not only that, but I will be back in touch with you, and we'll set up another interview down the line throughout the year, this year as we go through the year, and check in with you from time to time.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to do that, Rick.
Thank you, Jimmy. We were talking.
My pleasure. Thank you, and thank you for all the fans that love the music of that era. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay. That's Jimmy Clanton, one of the legends of rock and roll here on WUSC-FM.